Hey watch fans, Brad at Brent Miller, and today I have for us the Omega 300 and the 300M. And I thought we could just take a quick look and see how these compare to each other. See what you think relative to the more vintage-inspired 300. No date here on my left versus the, I'll call more modern 300M, although obviously has been around for a while itself in different variants. So real quick, let's just get the case dimensions out of the way. We have a 40.9 millimeter case on my left here with the 300 versus a 41.8. So slightly larger case. So listed as 42, listed as 41. You know, about a millimeter different across the case. That's not counting the crown protectors here on this crown. So kind of above that. With that said, I did also measure the crystals, which is really trying to get to the dial size. 30.9, so just a hair under 31 on the actual kind of crystal versus 31.4. So again, you know, slightly larger just as the dial. I call it the dial. I did measure from the edge of the crystal to the edge of the crystal, not including the kind of stainless ring we have here on the 300. 14.2 millimeters thick versus 13.5. So our 300M is a little bit thinner, about not quite a full millimeter, but I do think it is noticeable. We have a 48 millimeter lug tip to lug tip on the 300, and we have 49.6 on the 300M. So we do have a little bit longer lug to lug on the 300M model. 21 millimeter lug width versus a 20 meter lug width, so a little bit larger lug width on the smaller model. And then we have the 8912 movement with the 60-hour power reserve, and we have the 8800 with the 55-hour power reserve. So those are the specs. I will list those in the description, but more importantly, let's just kind of take a look at them visually. I mean, obviously, I wish I would have had this one on steel. I could have had two stainless steel models to compare, and I didn't have this one on rubber. So this is what we're getting today with what I have in inventory. I mean, just really could not be any more different, though, when you compare these aesthetically, right? So, you know, obviously we have a more polished ceramic bezel versus the I believe, what is this? The hardened aluminum. So kind of, again, more vintage inspired, a little bit thinner. This bezel here, obviously a little bit thicker. You know, your minute markers on your bezel versus, you know, just your minute, you know, 10, 20, instead of having one for every minute. Trying to look at other just similarities. Again, just obviously just more vintage inspired. You're looking at the handset, you know, skeletonized. You have your broad hour hand, your lollipop second hand. Those might be two of the more similar characteristics. I understand this isn't at the very end of it, but wave dial, you know, matte, flat black dial. I mean, even your hour indices, just the shapes, everything. I mean, just, again, very different. So I think it really goes to, you know, what visually do you prefer? Do you prefer a more vintage-inspired diver? You know, the one thing I completely left out is the helium escape valve up here. You know, some folks love that. Again, the crown protector coming out there on your 300M. Let's take a listen to the bezel action quick. I'm sure there's a few points that, you know, I'm not going to go over everything, but I feel like the 300 vintage inspired piece is, well, obviously it's easier just because of the scallop bezel to grab, but I feel like it's louder too. These gloves do not help. Yeah, definitely a different feel to it. Not a negative or a positive, just different. So let's throw these on wrist quick and wrap this up. Obviously, too, if you need a date, You're looking at the 300M, date window down here at 6 o'clock versus the no date on the 300. So on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, again, everybody's wrist is going to be different. I do notice the height on my wrist with this model. I like both of these. I really do. I think I like both designs. I think ideally, if it was up to me, I would love this watch. I think maybe with a little bit thinner. I like the shorter lug to lug on this 300 versus 300M. So for my 6 3/4 inch wrist, I would prefer a hybrid of the two. But again, as watch collectors, no watches. I don't know that any watch is perfect. Like I said, both of these are really fantastic options. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. So with that said, I appreciate you guys watching. If there's anything I can do, shoot me an email, brad@brentlmiller.com, and I will catch you guys in the next video.